with me to do my dark bidding on the internet. The undead rise again. What's up, guys? We're back with the Hunter and the Beast DLC, and yet another glorious YouTuber free-for-all, and the Fat Bats are marching to war. Not played vampire accounts in a while, so I figured, hell, why not let Mannfred the Planet Killer out of his cage? Dude's got a massive Winds of Magic pool. It's going to be pretty useful in a battle with 3 other armies, but the Shredder of Lustria has risen to defend its home turf. 3,800 gold and 40 tons of Apex Predator. Thing makes even Carnosaurs look tiny. Wurrzag the Great Green Prophet and his Black Orcs might be a problem as well, buffed out by that Bonewood Staff every time he casts a spell. They're one of the strongest elite infantry units on the field today, and Dylan Sprouse, the Shadow King, leads Nagarythe and the Shadowlands to war once more. In the green corner, Gojira Gaming and the Children of the Old Ones. Looking like Jurassic Park up in this hoe. Triceratops, Allosaurus, and the Croc from Lake Placid. Gonna be tough to deal with all that killing power, all that HP, and all that armor. Now, the Shredder of Lustria is 3,800 gold, 40% more expensive than the Pharaoh version, and for that price increase, you get better leadership, melee attack, a poison blowpipe howdah, and dread aversion, -8 leadership in an AoE. It's pretty scary, but also a lot of points to invest, and you can feed a lot of that away if you get stuck in a bad situation. Mazda Mundi riding Zlok the Stegodon, Net, Apotheosis, and Arcane Unforging, which I actually don't recommend in free-for-alls because the Spirit Leech and Buna, a lot of those spells, direct damage, don't actually give points. So it can help you win the overall battle, but it won't give you points when you cast the spell. In the purple corner, it's Black Iron Battles and the Greenskins. Wurrzag the Great Green Prophet with a bunch of Gobos, Black Orcs, and the Dancing Legend himself. Brainburster, Fist of Gork, and that Bonewood Staff for map-wide melee attack and charge bonus every time he casts. Black is the new green, but red goes faster. Black Orcs, immune to Psych, ton of AP, 50 weapon strength, pretty beastly, and an Arachnarok Spider, rocking that bonus for Slorge and Poison for monster hunting. Pretty good unit, pretty scary build. In the gold corner, it is I, Indie Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War, playing the Undead, Zombie, and Graveguard frontline 2 Varghouls, Corpse Cart with Unholy Lodestone, and flying high on the Winds of Magic. Bad News has swift wings. Cool as the rule, with Manny Fresh, looking dead but delicious, master of the black arts, and what could be cooler than blowing up the planet, right? Purple Sun and Raised Dead on his Hellsteed, Varys Reaver's Black Knights with lances and barding in the back, flanked by Blood Knights. So a lot of cav and a lot of monsters means a lot of speed and a lot of mobility, which means you can choose your engagements, which is very useful in free-for-all battles. In the blue corner, Professor Pone, the Shadowlands prepare for war once more. Alith, Anar, and Shadow Walkers, 4 of them. Bonus for infantry, poison, decent ranged attacks. Pretty cool unit unique to Nagarythe. And on the hillside behind, that are not Vanguard deployed, Dragon Princes, Scions of Mathland, Shadowcaster with Penumbral Pendulum and Pit of Shades, and a Book of Hoeth for better casting potential. Those Dragon Princes are going to be amazing heavy cav, one of my favorite units, and this caster could also get some serious work done in the blobs that inevitably happen in free-for-all battles. Alith Anar with the Moonbow of Lilith and Darken the Skies, reload skill in an AoE passively, means if he gets up next to his Shadow Walkers, he can buff them up quite tremendously. So as the battle begins, think to yourself, okay, sometimes you don't want to go straight for the 1v1 at the start, right? I've got a ton of speed, and my army isn't really conducive to fighting the High Elves and all their spears. I don't really want to deal with that at the start of the match, so I'm thinking, okay, well, I don't want to run across the open field and get picked apart by Shadow Walkers. How about we move to another location on the battlefield? We can wait till the Greenskins and Lizardmen decide to attack each other, and they are both getting very aggressive, and they both have very clear rush armies, and so this is kind of like Sakura Ridge from Shogun 2 days, if you guys remember that. Dirk and Swig's going right up the center. They're rushing for the hill. We're going to fight right at the top of it. Then have Amintok going down. A little bit overzealous from Black Iron Battles there, not realizing that Mazda Mundi had that net. Will tie them down. And Dirk and Swig's probably going to die while the Carnosaur and a Shredder of Lustria get into the thick of it. Goblins going flying left, right, and center. Don't speak to me or my son ever again. Shredder of Lustria just dwarfing all other monsters in the game. It's not even close. Carnosaur is massive and looks tiny in comparison to this beast. Howdah going off, blowpipes getting shot everywhere, and looking like terror. Gonna set in for the Goblin front line, which is exactly what you would expect. I mean, there's not a whole lot the Greenskins can do against that thing at the start of the match. Black Iron Battles doesn't actually have a lot of missile fire here, and that could be potentially problematic for him. His left flank is already buckling under the weight of that assault, but man-child, ready to unleash the purple son of Xarius. Shaiish, lend me your energies, and an orb of death will carve its way through Saurus and Greenskin alike, turning that entire side of the battlefield into paste. Nagash was weak. Witness true power. Over 150 kills, and immediately jumping into first place. That's why I highly recommend mobile casters with AoE spells in free-for-all. No one expects a flying lord, a tiny flying lord, to make his way over from the other side of the battlefield, then drop the hammer when you're fighting another army. It can be pretty nasty. WAAAGH just popped, map wide for the Greenskins. Wurrzag is stuck in there. Black Orcs getting in there as well. With the Bowman Staff and Wall all on top of the Black Orcs, they're going to be vicious. But there are a lot of dinos for them to deal with, and that's not typically the engagement they really thrive in. They're better against cav and infantry. Even the high elves are getting stuck in now. Nagarythe, Shadowcaster coming in with the Penumbral Pendulum, and it's going to slice its way through all those skinks and get over 200 kills with a single cast there. Amazing. Just carve right through. It's pretty nasty. And we're now seeing the Bubble of Note drop, and the Saurus and the dinos in the center looking pretty safe. And honestly, I'm not sure the Greenskins have enough to deal with this Shredder of Lustria. It's taken some damage so far, but done a lot more in return. Wurrzag, Big Boss, and Black Orcs trying to surround it, but Banishment going down. Beautiful Vortex spell from Gojira. He's going to follow it up with a Ruination of Cities. And man, this is getting punishing for the Greenskins at the start of the match. Carnosaur is rampaging. Cold-Blooded is right there to support, and honestly, it's fighting the right target anyway, on top of that Arachnarok Spider, and she's gone. Black Iron battles in literal ruins, and he's going to have to retreat, but unfortunately, he has nowhere to go because the vampire counts are now behind him. Purple Son of Xarius going down on that Black Orc blob, getting even more kills for Manchild, and Greenskins, it's rough, man. It's a hard life. It's a hard knock life for the mushrooms. And I think we need an F in the chat for Black Iron battles and for the Greenskins. Even if he had brought the tools necessary to deal with that Shredder of Lustria, which admittedly he didn't, probably his fault there. What wasn't his fault was getting completely surrounded by 3 different armies, all casting spells, and running down his routing troops. It's typically not ideal, but it is something. It's kind of the asymmetrical balance of free-for-all that makes it interesting. You don't have to just go in and play football in that 1v1. You can say to yourself, I am needed on another side of the battle, and go for that. And so both Nagarythe and the Vampire Counts at the moment are capitalizing on the high-octane action going on between the Lizardmen and the Greenskins here. Dragon Princes running down some Saurus, and even though those are spears, they're rampage and have very little HP. They should probably rout pretty soon. But a nice HQ command center in the middle for Gojira with those dinos and the Shredder of Lustria. But there are plenty of kills to be had out on the flanks. Various Reavers smelling blood in the water. Goblin Archers run down, and these Black Knights do cause fear. So they will be able to pretty much route everything over on this side of the battlefield. Start getting a ton of kills. Not a lot of points. Goblins have never been worth a whole lot in free-for-all. But to route all that, certainly going to help. Blood Knights coming in to reinforce as well. But the Vargulfs, they're going for the Dread Saurian, which could be very dangerous. Even though it is at half HP, he's got that 22 or 44% ward save going down. The Bubble and Mannfred also thinking about getting stuck in, and they're realizing, okay, it's probably not the right time. Mazdamundi is there. Dread Saurian is there. Ward save is there. Let's rethink that. But Carnosaur bounding forward, and he's also going after him. Blood Knight's nearby, and here we go. We've got a huge monster mash in the center, while the Shadow King kind of cackles out on the flank and laughs, picking apart the dinos as all these other factions are fighting. Ray's dead, gonna try to pin the Feral Carnosaur in place, and that should work, but yet another Ruination of Cities and a Banishment going down as they surround the Feral Carnosaur. Will it be worth it? Again, beautiful placement with those bombardment spells from Mazdamundi. Gojira doing some serious work with that AoE damage, and looks like the Feral Carnosaur has dropped. Shredder of Lustria getting in there, and Cav does not want to fight them. I think that's probably one of the best Cav killers in the entire game. And if the Dread Saurian has any niche whatsoever, it's killing cavalry. It is incredibly good at doing so. Even elite Cav, like Dragon Princes, like Blood Knights, all that stuff, Chaos Knights, they will fall by the dozens each time he swings those massive gaping jaws. And the Vargulfs are trying to goon up on him and doing well, But if they overextend here, it's just kind of putting them in range of that focus fire from the Shadow King. So we all got to be careful. Mazdamundi is feeling the worst of it at the moment, though. Zlak getting pin-cushioned by all that archer fire coming in. Dragon Prince is charging. Blood Knights are close to crumbling. Invocation of the Heck will go down to try to heal them up. Cold-blooded Apotheosis on top of that Shredder of Lustria. And it is a gooning monster mash. But it looks like the leader of Hexadol has dropped. Zlak crumbling into the dirt. And Mazdamundi will teleport off of his toilet seat and say, I'm going to go hang out in Hexadol. You guys finish this battle off without me. But Mannfred took a ton of damage from that Shredder. Finally, it has started to waver and, in fact, rout. All those points will be going my way, and I'm quite enjoying that. But Lizardmen have a pretty hardcore lead at the moment. Thousands of points ahead of any other faction. I'll say Pone has been a little bit reserved here. Just kind of picking and choosing his engagements. Picking and choosing where to fire with those Shadow Walkers. But it's not racking him up a ton of points. He got a ton of kills with that first Penumbral Pendulum. It was all on Skinks, so it really didn't net him a whole lot of value. Dragon Princes, Varix Reavers, Blood Knights, and the double Vargolf build charging downhill, getting into those Dragon Princes, and those will be even more elite points going my way. I like that. But the Moonbow of Lilith arcing across the skies, hitting Mannfred, and he's taken a tremendous amount of damage from both the Shredder and that Focus Fire as the Shadow Warriors of Nagarythe fired in. Greenskins are wavering for the most part. Wurrzag has fallen a couple minutes ago. Lizardmen are regrouping in the woods, but it looks like it might come down to 1v1 between Nagarythe and the Vampire accounts. Kinda makes sense, they were the last two to engage, but being the last one in isn't always a good thing. You can see the difference in points between the Undead and the High Elves. And that had to have been a misclick. I don't know what Poe was doing there. That's not how Penumbral Pendulum works. He's a good player. I'm really not sure what happened. Maybe he's just rusty, or maybe he just misclicked. I don't know. That was strange. It was a very strange cast. But, more to my point, Vampire accounts dropped some serious resources into that fight with Purple Sun and commitment into the Dread Saurian. Azur haven't really committed too much, except for a few volleys and charges into stragglers, but now they will. Swordmasters going up the center, but Vargolf's, Blood Knights, and Varix Reavers gonna bowl right into them. That's gonna hurt. That felt real nice. They're just gonna get pounded into the ground over and over and over again. Vargolf's feasting on their flesh, and Swordmasters will not be long for this world. And honestly, that's kind of the beauty of this free-for-all, as a beautiful Pit of Shades goes down on the Graveguard. Aggression is key, but it needs to be measured aggression. You typically don't want to commit your entire army right at the start of the match, because suddenly you become a very juicy target for every other player. But the only way to actually earn points is to kill stuff, so be measured and analytical in your approach, but when you see that opening, strike hard, strike fast, get your shock troops in, and gobble up whatever points you can. The High Elves didn't really commit much except some arrow volleys, and so in terms of the points, they are in last at the moment. The Purple Sun really helped me kind of jump into the middle of the pack, which is where you want to be if your entire army is still intact. With that said, Blood Knights are anything but intact right now. They're getting shredded by all that Shadow Walker fire, and Alith and Anar is really, even with the Flag of Blood Keep and that 15% missile resist, Blood Knights are still getting absolutely pooped on by all that archer fire, and it looks like they are about to crumble out of existence. Vargolfs and Varix Reavers have backed up. Remember that the Black Knights with Lances and Barding ROR do have that regeneration, which is very useful in a situation like this one. Pull out, let them get some of their health back. When they go back in, they're going to be even more effective. Mislead, clone for Alith and Anar, dropping to some Graveguard, but normal Alith and Anar is in perfectly fine shape. In fact, it looks like he's full HP. And Vargolf bounding into the flank of these Azur Spearmen. That's going to be a terror route almost instantaneously, and they will start breaking as the Graveguard give chase. Now that was how you use Pendulum. It's going to carve right through the Graveguard over on the other flank, and here comes the other Vargolf, the Fat Bat. Gonna feast on some Dragon Princes of Calidor, and over the crest of that hill ride the Black Knights down the mountainside into the flank of those heavy cav, caught with their pants down, and looks like the heavy Knights of Calidor will fall. Entire unit gonna disappear under that charge, and they're gone for good, which opens up quite a juicy opportunity to get into those Shadow Walkers. They've got poison and relatively high missile defense for an archer unit as well. They're not going to go down easy, especially because these Black Knights are pretty beaten up at this point. focus fire has definitely, they've been feeling that one as well. The Vargulfs are in good shape. They're continuing to bound through, just giddily prancing their way into the Shadow Walkers, and one of them appears to be on the verge of breaking, and in fact, just did. More raised dead, gonna cut off the retreat path of the Shadow Walkers. Might allow Mannfred to get in there, but I'm not sure he wants to land. Scions of Mathland are doing a very admirable job of holding the line, holding back these tides of Graveguard and zombies. But even though it looks like those zombies are about to crumble out of existence, they've done what they need to do, tied down the spears, and it looks like a fear and terror rout is beginning to set in. More of the Shadow Walkers being run down. But those Black Knights, they really aren't going to be able to get a ton of kills at this point in the battle. They've taken so much damage, not getting their full charge bonus off, losing a lot of their speed because of that poison debuff, and Shadow Walkers are quite good in melee. They pretty much double as an infantry unit. That bonus versus infantry could be a big deal, dealing with the Graveguard as we move into the later stages of this game. But Mannfred still on that Hellsteed, still flying overhead, bringing bad news to wherever he can. Raised dead, and he's going to be able to bring a few more of those into the battle, but I don't know about any more Purple Suns. He has already cast 2, done a lot of casting this game, but the Master of the Black Arts and the Sword of Tempelhof generates a lot of unholy power. A lot of casting potential on that boy. One of the biggest Winds of Magic pools in the game. Maybe second only to Necrarch and a few others. I'm actually not sure. Mannfred has a bigger Winds of Magic pool than Necrarch Vampire. I think it might be very comparable. I think they're pretty similar. But yeah, Shadow Walkers getting scythed apart by that Sword of Unholy Power. Every time he swings that sword, heads going rolling. And I have no desire to be letting them come back. No desire to let them rally, because if they do, the focus fire from those Shadow Walkers could be the only thing that brings down my Vargulfs. Alith and Anar is tied down in melee as we currently stand. More heads flying. The Sword of Unholy Power is seriously beastly. Mannfred will need to escape though, because he is very close to death. He's actually about to crumble if he's not careful. Vargulf is crumbling, but if managed to pull that away, regeneration might be able to kick in, get his leadership back up, but taking a lot of fire. And the caster is isolated. Don't know how much Winds of Magic she has left, but she is casting her Book of Hoeth and that staff. And both those will help buff up her Winds of Magic potential. Don't want her getting any more Penumbral Pendulums or Pit of Shades. Vargulf gonna start beating up on her. Pone will notice it and escape. And I just recently passed Gojira into first place. But really, a lot of this will come down to whoever is the last man standing. Typically going to be the master of the free-for-all, because you get 4,000 extra points. Pit of Shades going to clip the edge of that Graveguard unit, but I did notice and dodge out of the way. I want to wait until they're fully tied down. Oh man, oh my god, this really sucks. He's gonna get knocked out, and yeah, that Vargulf, he had fun with that guy. He's just kind of making toys out of those Azure Spearmen. They just shatter. These Azure Spearmen, surrounded by zombies, a corpse cart with Unholy Lodestone. Alith and Anar are duking it out with a bunch of them. Azure Spears are surrounded, man. That looks so cool. Just a shield wall completely inundated by a swarm of zombies and a cackling evil dude on the back whipping his zombies into submission. But is it going to be enough to bring him down with 2 Vargulfs bouncing into the middle of it? I think so, probably. They've been beastly this game. Seriously, been amazing. I love how fast Vargulfs attack. One of the cooler monster units, and it looks like a terror rout imminent for those High Elf Spears. Alith and Anar is still in there though. Shadow Walker's getting tied down, and this is looking worse and worse for the High Elves. Even Mannfred getting stuck back in. Doesn't really have any Winds of Magic left, but he can also kill stuff in melee. He's a Vampire Lord at the end of the day, and on a Hellsteed with that charge bonus. That can get pretty brutal. Shadow Walkers will get stuck in. More Shadow Clones being summoned. Then maybe get 1 or 2 kills there on him, but really it's up to Alith and Anar, the Shadow King himself. Does he have the melee prowess to take down 2 Vargulfs and Mannfred? No, absolutely not. This will go to the Vampire accounts and the Undead. My first Vampire accounts game in months, feels like, at least for YouTube, and it went pretty well. Very thematic armies. I like seeing Alith and Anar and Shadow Walkers, and they were definitely pretty impactful this game. We got some great shots into the Shudder of Lustria, got some great shots into Mazda Mundi, and were in fact what brought down the Behemoth, brought down Zlak, that Stegadon, and the leader of Hexadol, the Slann Mage Priest. But Graveguard should be more than enough to take out the remnants of these Shadow Walkers. And as the Vargulfs bound in and finish off the rest of these archers, we are going to hit double fast forward here in a second. and fast forward to the end of the game, because it's just going to be cleanup duty at this point. So free-for-alls continue to be an amazing game mode. I am so thankful CA decided to go back to them, and I cannot wait to see what they're like in Warhammer 3, but they have made for some incredible games in Warhammer 2. It's just so much fun. And I really, really love the fact that it doesn't require you to just go in and 1v1 your opponent and then 1v1 whoever's left at the end of the day. There are so many more tactical options available to you as a player in free-for-all. The entire battlefield kind of gets opened up like an oyster, and you can go at it from so many different angles. And so my angle of that battle was looking, okay, Shadow Walkers are going to be very annoying when they skirmish down my stuff. I don't want to get near them. I don't want to have to close the gap on this huge map, rocket tile pools, and just kind of expose myself to all that archer fire. So why do that in the first place? I can go somewhere else with Mannfred because he's on a Hellsteed, drop some huge bombs with the Purple Suns, and get a ton of kills. Alith and Anar kind of had the same idea. When he saw my Graveguard and stuff moving the other direction, he moved up, started firing into the dinos, racking up whatever points he could, dropped that Penumbral Pendulum right into the middle of all those skinks, got some points that way. Alith and Anar racked up quite a lot of damage against those monsters. Dragon Prince has got over 200 kills. Got some chevrons there too. Swordmasters had a bit of a rough go, but the Shadow Walkers were amazing. I mean, they were quite good that game. They were one of the biggest reasons Pone got the points that he did. But Slowjira got second place. A lot of that on the backs of the Shredder of Lustria and Mazda Mundi, who put in obscene amounts of work that game. Mannfred got 229 kills. Varus Reavers 152. Blood Knights got 2 chevrons because a lot of their damage came on that Dread Saurian. Getting those extra chevs, get their melee defense up. Vargulfs even, it seems like the Dread Saurian just gives a ton of chevrons to whatever beats up on it. But there's no denying how good it was that game. Killed a ton of Black Orcs, 140 kills, caused terror routes all over the Greenskin line. I'd say the biggest issue for the Greenskins that game, they did not have the tools to deal with a Dread Saurian. Yes, they had the Arachnarok Queen, the Big Mama Spider, but she's not going to be enough to take down a Shredder by herself. Not enough archer fire for the Greenskins, and Black Iron Battles had a rough go of it. But really fun free-for-all game in Lustria. Very thematic, very enjoyable. Hope you guys liked it. See you next time.